Welcome back to the Tailgate Show. A little different of a vibe. Today, we're not going to have Chief or Ace here. Today, it's just going to be me, and this is not going to be one of our usual episodes. This is just me here giving you an update on the Braves season as a Braves fan, talking to an audience. We planned on doing episode 6 today, but some people are going to be unavailable. Chief, Ace, my little brother Smash has won a bunch of awards, so they're going to his little ceremony. They won't be able to do it tonight. So episode 6 will be on Sunday of this week. So just, look forward to that. Obviously, we wish we could have done it today. But instead, I'm going to come on here and just give an overall breakdown and update on currently what the Braves have been doing. I'm going to try to keep it quick. About 30 minutes. It's not going to be as long as our normal episodes. But anyways, we'll see how it goes with just me here. Obviously, I like the father, son, and brother a trio where we can kind of feed off each other. It's a little bit different here. But so starting with the Braves, we're going to just go over general state of the team. Overall, the vibes right now with this team are still really, really good. You've kind of dealt with some stuff. Just it seems like the injury bug just keeps biting certain players. You have some people that are slightly underperforming, and then you have some guys that are rising a little bit. You also have some players that start off really, really hot, and they've kind of cooled off a little bit, and some of them have gone very cold. But they are in the middle of the series. Game 4 tonight against the Marlins. You lost game 1 of the series 12-0. J.R. Ritchie, you was expecting a start like that from him at some point, especially a rookie that doesn't have a whole lot of experience. At some point, somebody was going to at some point he was just going to have to give up something. And he gave up 6 runs in 4 or 5 innings. And then you had Aaron Bummer come in. And Aaron Bummer is, he has not been good. And he comes in and he gives up 6 more runs. And then Braves lose 12-0 series opener against the Marlins. But some good things that came out of that. Richie's going to get sent back down. He's going to go, continue to develop. Aaron Bummer was released by the Braves. So that's a bullpen arm that has been terribly inconsistent for the last 2 years that you have finally gotten rid of. And it allows an opportunity for some of these minor league guys to come up and, lengthen and extend the bullpen a little bit. But the Braves did a good job bouncing back the last 2 games, an 8-4 and a 9-1 win. When you've needed pitching at the right moments and you needed hitting at the right moments, this team has delivered very well. So they're looking to, if they can win tonight, they'll take 3 out of 4 from the Marlins. If they lose, they still basically split the series 2-2. Either way, you're looking good. As far as the overall standings, again, Braves, clear-cut, best team in the league, 34-16. And, like I said, the Rays are 33-15, so they're right behind, but that's the AL. But in terms of the NL, man, the Braves still have a very, very big lead over everybody. Still 9 games over the Phillies, 9 games over the Nationals, 12 over the Marlins, and 12.5 over the Mets. So really, like I said, the overall state of the team, vibes are good. Some bad things are happening here and there, but this team is still finding ways to win games. And I think that's a testament of the overall chemistry of this team and the culture of the team. They're doing a really, really good job right now. So we'll take a look at this. This is kind of a little interesting. In the last 7 days, you have Austin Riley's batting 174. That's not very good. Ozzie Albies 182 in the last 7 days. Not very good. The only person that's really kind of, consistently hit the ball very well over the last 7 games is Drake Baldwin, who is now hurt. Drake Baldwin was placed on the 10-day IL due to an oblique injury. They say that it's mild, so he should be back very, very soon. So, it's just one thing after another. You get Acuna back in the lineup, and then Drake Baldwin gets hurt. It's not a whole lot. It's not a whole lot that you can do about that. I mean, you just hope that maybe the baseball gods at some point later on in the season will throw us a bone or give us a break at some point. And maybe we can keep everybody fully healthy right now. The one thing that I like and I'm really, really happy about is that the starting pitching has stayed very consistent and very healthy. Outside of Richie's last performance, this pitching staff has been very, very good. I mean, from Chris Sale to Spencer Strider all the way to Bryce Elder and Grant Holmes, these guys have done well. Even Martin Perez. I mean, just, guys that are going out there and they're grinding and they're competing, and they have a high confidence level right now, and they're just doing a really really good job. So the pitching has really just kind of kept this team afloat even when the offense isn't producing. Obviously last 2 nights the offense has exploded a little bit, which is good, but before that in the series against the Red Sox, very minimal offense. The series before that, offense took a little bit of a hit, but it's good to see them at least in the last 2 games kind of explode a little bit. You hope that you can continue that going forward. This offense hitting is it's give and take. It's very hard to hit. I mean, it's very hard to hit consistently in a game where the best players of all time, only hit 3 out of every 10. So obviously, there's going to be nights where the offense is going to dip a little bit. You just hope that it's not, it doesn't span over multiple series. Because if it's your 2 to 3 series in a row and your offense really isn't getting above 3 runs, 4 runs a game, that's when you got to start to worry. But for every series that the Braves have kind of had a dip in offense, they bounce back with an explosion in the next series, and that's what you like to see. But like I said, man, this pitching staff has been really, really good. And even the bullpen, outside of Aaron Bummer, the bullpen has just been fantastic. You've got rookie phenom like Didier Fuentes, who's just done a phenomenal job in the pen. Dylan Lee has been one of the best relief pitchers, out there. The setup and closing tandem of Robert Suarez and Raziel Iglesias has been just outstanding when you need them. Obviously you have to be in a situation to use them. If you're up by 8 runs, there's no point in using them. And if you're down by, 3 to 4 runs, then you obviously don't want to waste them. So, but this bullpen, this pitching staff, the starting pitching has been really, really good. Chris Sale last night, great performance, 7 innings, 1 run allowed. He's just consistent. He continues to just put up, a Cy Young, performances at 37 years old, which is kind of insane. So, but I think the energy of this team is another thing I wanted to hit on. The energy of this team is up. These guys are very supportive of each other. They're very into the game. They play with a lot of emotion, which sometimes can be bad, sometimes can be good. But like I said, these guys pick each other up. They trust each other. They like playing with each other. I think the chemistry is great. I think Mauricio Dubon made a joke the other day that the whole team was trying their hardest to get Ronald back in the lineup and playing so that they could stop, listening to him joke around and clown around and talk all the time in the dugout, which is jokingly. Obviously, they don't, that's not a bad thing. But they said Ronald was a little too talkative and pulling too many pranks in the dugout while he was injured. So they're obviously glad to have him back on the field, which is a good thing. But just things like that, man. This team, they gel with each other. They play well with each other. They get along. I think like I said, man, this team is a really, really, close, tight-knit group. And I think that's why you're seeing them win games, even with injuries and guys missing and everything. One thing I do want to hit on is just Ha-Seong Kim has just been terrible at the plate. If you look at let's go to Ha-Seong Kim's stats. I mean, 0.87 batting average. He's hit some balls well right at people, but at some point you got to start finding holes and finding gaps, and he's just not doing that. I saw last night they pulled him out of the lineup and they went with Dubon at short, which was interesting. I know Dubon made a bad throw on a double play, but outside of that, he played really well. So maybe that works. The only worry I have is you're paying Ha-Seong Kim $20 million a year on a 1-year deal. If you're going to pay him that money, he's got to do something to get it. Otherwise, it's kind of a waste. But the biggest surprise for me has been Mike Yastrzemski. Over the last 2 weeks, he has really, really picked it up, and he's done really, really well at the plate. He's battling up there. He's getting into long at bats. He's driving the ball the other way very well. I've seen a lot of his hits have been, going the other way into left field, backside base hits, backside in the gap. So I think he's really seeing the ball right now. And for someone who started off so poorly to start the season, it's good to see him finally come around because he had a really, really good spring training. So, but like I said, man, this team, they're performing well given all the negatives and the bad that is going on. They're still finding ways to win. You lose 12-0 to a division opponent, and then you bounce back with two pretty big wins like that, looking for a third today. If you can finish that off, that's a great way to bounce back. And that's baseball, man. The best team in the league can lose to the worst team in the league 10-0. It happens. So that's why I wasn't really worried. Braves lost to none. A lot of Braves fans I saw on social media were panicking, and they were, talking about how we were done and the injuries and that, yeah, this team's going to start falling apart. But they responded very well the next two games. So that's why it didn't really bother me, them losing one game like that. It's a 162-game season, even if the best record of all time, you're still going to lose 40 to 50 games. So, it is what it is. You just got to keep grinding it out, and that's what the Braves are doing very well. So now I want to go to what's working for the Braves. I'll tell you what's working. I think guys like, Sandy Leon, Jose Azocar, these are two guys, Kyle Farmer. These are guys that came in the lineup, and they're doing very well. But, I mean, obviously, go back to Mauricio Dubon and Dom Smith. Two guys that you picked up. Dom Smith is doing a hell of a job in the DH spot. Mauricio Dubon is doing a great job. Jorge Mateo. These are guys that you didn't really expect to honestly be winning you outright winning you games. And that's what some of them, they've done that. I mean, Mateo, Dubon, Dom, they have won you games outright, pretty much on their own, pretty much just from their bat being in the lineup. And that's what I'm saying. These are, this is some of the breakout players that you're seeing, and you're just like, you didn't expect it from them, and they're doing a really, really good job. Another surprise for me is just how average, below average Austin Riley has been, and also how much that Matt Olson and Ozzie have kind of slid a little bit in their production. I mean, I guess I get it, I understand. But, man, I mean, this is, look at this. Olson 182, Albies 182, and Riley 174 in the last 7 games. A little bit of a dip in production, even if you look at let's look at the last 15 days. We'll kind of get into there. So, last 15 days, 217 for Matt Olson. 130 for Ozzie Albies. Just not really, it's just not enough to do it. But then you look at other guys like Jose Azocar, 385. Jorge Mateo, 455. You have some guys, Michael Harris, 292. Dom Smith, 370. This is over the last 15 days. So while you have some of your superstars, they're slumping right now. You have other guys that are picking them up, and it's the reason this team is winning. And like I said, you combine, you don't need everybody in the lineup to produce every night. You have guys, you have your stars like Olson and Acuna and Riley and Albies. They start to fall off a little bit, but then you got guys like Jorge Mateo and Dom Smith and Mauricio Dubon and Jose Azocar that are picking up the slack. You combine that with starting pitching that's keeping people under 3-2 runs every game. And that's a recipe for success. That's really all you need. You just need, 3 to 4 guys to just, have good nights and string together a couple good nights. And then you just need the pitching to be consistent. And you win a lot of games. And that's why the Braves are still in first. That's why they have a sizable lead. That's why I think that, even given the state of these injuries and some of these guys falling off, I think this team is still the number 1 contender for the World Series. I don't think they're going anywhere. But anyway, so yeah, like I said earlier, the offensive stretches, the Braves are not going too long in a drought. The offense, two games in a row, maybe it doesn't produce, and then boom, the next 2 games, you get 15 runs in those 2 games, and then you have a steady 3 to 4 runs in the next 2 or 3, and then you drop off a little bit and you don't score one night, and then the next night, boom, they blow up again. That's what you need, and that's what the Braves had in 2023 when they had that insane offensive season. Is they would have a down game, and then they would just blow up the next couple games, and then they'd have a down. But they never made it, 2, 3, 4 consecutive games of no offensive performance, and I think that's what made that 2023 team so good in the regular season, one of the best statistical offenses in baseball history in a season, team-wise. And I think that's what helped them. And I think that's what this team is doing. I don't think the offense is as explosive as 2023, but they're very consistent, and they're not going too long. They're not going multiple games in a row without some kind of production. And I think that is how you sustain the success. And you do it by, even when your stars aren't producing, the other guys are stepping up and they're producing. And that's exactly what the Braves have done all year. So, but yeah, that's That's pretty much it. Like I said, I think that this team isn't going anywhere. This is a World Series contender through and through. They just are. So, even with the injuries, you get Baldwin back soon, which is a good thing. You're going to get Drake Baldwin back. You have enough depth in the rotation to kind of help. And if anything, every now and then pull a guy up, let him get a start, see how he does. But the good news is the Braves have a lot of pitching prospects. We have a lot of guys that we can run through and bring up and give a try. But for now, the rotation of Sale, Strider, Bryce Elder, Grant Holmes, and even Martin Perez, just those guys are getting it done. They're getting it done. And so you have a solid 4 to 5 pitchers who can go out there and give you innings and keep you in ball games. And I think that's one of the main reasons of the Braves' success. And then the second part is there's always 3 to 4 guys producing every night. There's 9 batters in the lineup. 5 of them aren't producing. The other 4 are lights out, and they're hitting the ball. They're driving it. They're hitting home runs. They're getting on base. They're driving each other in. The Braves are they're gonna need to sustain that, right? And I think they will. And I think that at some point this year, Austin Riley and Ronald Acuna and Ozzie Albies and Matt Olson will just hit a groove late in the season where they're all 4 of them are just producing and hitting. And if you can get that along with what Dom Smith and Mauricio Dubon and Jose Azocar are doing right now, and you can combine that together along with Mike Yastrzemski, if you can combine all that, this team is probably one of the deadliest teams I've ever seen in the game of baseball offensively. If you can put it all together along with this pitching staff and they can stay consistent and do what they're doing, this is a really, really good, but really, really fantastic baseball team. The sky's the limit. This team has World Series talent. Are they going to win it? I don't know. But I think for sure they'll make the playoffs, and man, they'll be in the run come October. So, but like I said, that's pretty much all I got. Just a quick update and my breakdown of the Braves. We'll get into this more on some other episodes as the season goes along. But like I said, the Braves still have only lost 1 series. They're 14-1-1 on series throughout the season right now, and they're looking to finish off the Marlins tonight at 6:40 Eastern time, 5:40 Central, where I'm at. Any Braves fans, check it out. If you're a Braves fan, leave a comment. Let me know what you think about the season so far. What are your thoughts? Do you agree with what I've said? Do you disagree? I'm always open for that. So with that being said, this is a quick, short Tailgate Show episode. We will be back to our regularly scheduled program on Sunday night with the Master Chief and Ace joining us. As a matter of fact, I'll just go ahead and give it to you. We're going to talk about some of the famous sports moments that we've experienced or seen as a sports fan that have broke us. We'll get into some of our funniest sports moments that have happened, and then we'll finish it off with a tailgate court special. Tailgate court trial held by me, Chief, and Ace, and we will go over some crimes and render some verdicts in terms of tailgates and cookouts. So hope to see y'all soon. Tune in. Again, hope you enjoy the content. Like I said, we're just going to keep doing this. Normally, it'll be every Thursday and Sunday. Obviously, today, some stuff happened, so some people weren't available. So I just figured I'd come on here and give you some kind of filler, just to get you through. But appreciate it. Thank y'all so much. Like I said, Tailgate Show. We'll call it the bridge episode before episode 6. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.